For soybean farmers, next year's weed control begins while this year's crop is still in the field. Christy Sprague, weed extension specialist and professor at Michigan State University, says marestail and water hemp have emerged as the peskiest troublemakers this year. The former, also known as horseweed, is an early emerger.
So we have to really think about controlling it before we plant. So that's been a big issue. And typically in the past, we've used things like 2,4-D as a burn down, and it's really more of a problem in no-till situations. But we're really starting to see this weed move to emerge later in the season. So we really need to be thinking about a whole season control. With water hemp, what we're really looking at is starting out with a good pre-emergence herbicide. So with anything, we want to start clean, but a good residual herbicide is really important. And we've got a fair number that we can use. A lot of what we can call the group 14 herbicides, things like Valor or some of the mixtures that have authority herbicides in there, can give us some good suppression early. Or we have a lot of group 15s that are pretty good. But a lot of times we like to put those in our post-emergence so we can get some extended residual control. Again, we really want to be looking at traits where we can use something post-emergence that will control water hemp, because right now we've got a lot of Roundup resistant or glyphosate resistant water hemp. We also have ALS resistant water hemp and a lot of combinations, and we're starting to see more group 14 or PPO resistant water hemp, which really limits our use of things like Cobra and FlexStar. Depending on what happens with the dicamba labels in the Xtend soybeans, the one other thing to think about is in the near future, we'll probably start to see Xtend Flex soybeans, and those are going to be soybeans that are going to allow us to use glufosinate or Liberty post-emergence or over the top of those soybeans. So that would give us another option. Currently those aren't available, and I'm not sure if we're going to see those in 2021 or 2022, but that would be something where if we are able to use dicamba pre-emergence as a burn down, that would be a good fit, and then being able to come back with glufosinate or Liberty post-emergence to help control some of these weeds.
Sprague says planting cover crops in the fall or adjusting soybean row width can go a long way in suppressing both marestail and water hemp.
This is the first year we've really looked at row width, but we've in regards to marestail, but we've looked at it in the past. And generally when we narrow up those rows, we are actually causing kind of a shade environment. So that helps suppress some of those weeds from coming up, whether it's emergence or just keeping them at a lower level. So that really helps. And that's kind of what we're seeing a little bit with the cover crops too. It's kind of giving us a little bit of shading or suppression of that weed. And we might see a few less weeds come up, but the other thing it does is it also suppresses their growth. So it might keep them a little bit smaller for that post-emergence herbicide application.
However, Sprague says cover crops or narrower soybean rows shouldn't supplant using herbicides, but instead be used hand in hand.
Go out and scout those fields, find out if you've got water hemp as an issue, if you've got marestail or horseweed as an issue, and start thinking about, okay, what do I need to do for next year? And we've got some really good fact sheets that kind of walks people step by step, what products, what herbicide rates you can use, and you can find those on our website, msuweeds.com, and we always put those in the back of the weed control guide.